You may not be familiar with the time sweepers. The time sweepers are the people who sweep up all the time that is lost and wasted. You cannot see them, though if you are in the railway station and think you are seeing something out of the corner of your eye, it will probably be a time sweeper, cleaning up around the bench you're sitting on. If you were to see them, you would find a small, bluish person with an intent expression, clutching a broom and a mop. The men wear overalls, and the women old-fashioned tweed skirts and scarves on their heads. The time sweepers are present whenever time is being lost or wasted. There are always several in train stations, and at least one in every doctor's surgery. The man who has waited so long to propose to his girlfriend that her hair has gone gray probably has his own personal time sweeper following him around. The woman who has spent 35 loathed years in an estate agent's, dreaming of opening a florist, causes the neighborhood time sweeper to sigh and fetch a bigger dustpan. You should not feel sorry for the time sweepers, though their work is menial. They are never sick, do not worry that they are in the wrong career, and have excellent working conditions, though what they do for leisure is unknown. They enjoy bank holidays off, which is why, on these days, there seems to be so much more time than usual. At Christmas and New Year, the time sweepers have a week's holiday. When they return to work in January, they face a vast backlog of time which has been lost, wasted, and thrown away over the holidays. It takes them around 3 weeks to resume normal service, which is why January always seems to last longer than other months. The time sweepers have been around forever, though modern life has created wasted time in such large concentrations that in some places the time sweepers have been forced to industrialize their operations, buying a number of specialized compressing lorries similar to those used in ordinary binmen. They use these for their largest collections, at prisons and shopping malls, two venues whenever the tide of wasted time threatens to swamp even the most dedicated operatives. Were you to ask a time sweeper, they would tell you one surprising thing. Time enjoyed is never time wasted. Cleaning up in a large office full of staggering tedium, the time sweeper will pass straight by the desk of the woman who is reading a holiday catalog under the desk, poring over photos of tropical beaches. They will pass by the next desk, where a man is enjoyably wondering what his mother-in-law looks like naked, and stop by the desk of the young man who is counting every minute and loathing the hours. You may wonder what happens to that wasted time after it has been cleaned up. Never fear, the time sweepers are ardent recyclers. It is collected, packed into large containers, moved to Liverpool docks, loaded onto a ship, and taken to India. There, in a dusty industrial estate somewhere near Bombay, it is cleaned, sorted, and graded. The most toxic and poison time, the residues of failed peace negotiations, wrongful imprisonments, and truly poisonous marriages, is skimmed off and buried in a tank underneath a disused army base. There, it will take 2 or 3 centuries to decay and become harmless again. The rest of the time, made up of stuff such as dull meetings, missed appointments, delayed buses, and bad nights at the theater, is cleaned and put back onto a ship, where it is taken to Guangzhou Industrial Export Processing Zone. Here, it will be compressed and stored, awaiting redistribution. Around 20% goes directly to the factories of the Export Processing Zone, which has the world's highest productivity rate. A quarter is bought in hard dollars by the Chinese government. 10% of the most concentrated stuff is sold to cryogenics labs in California. Another 20 or so percent is discreetly sold to a variety of rich private clients, mostly old, rich men who have married beautiful young women. However, the time sweepers are not in it for profit. The money from these deals pays for their operations, including dusters, bin bags, overalls, and shipping. The rest is distributed to good causes. No one who gets any extra time has to fill in any forms or ask for a grant. They are all quite unaware that they are a recipient of assistance. One of these beneficiaries is a shabby and overtired scientist in a crumbling public laboratory outside Novoskopik, who will be the man to find the vaccine for malaria. Another is a prostitute in Nairobi who has fostered 17 children and who, despite 20 years in the business, never falls ill. A third is an Indian taxi driver in a cramped flat in Toronto, who, in between sending money home to a sick wife and children, is writing what will later be acknowledged as the greatest novel of a century. Not all the recipients or the timesweepers' largesse are people. About 40 miles outside Timbuktu, a medieval mosque, buried in sand, receives delivery every decade or so. Somewhere below the floor of the Aegean Sea, a Trojan galley is miraculously preserved in mud. Similarly, the timesweepers gift a little extra time to a temple in Mexico and preserve a haul of Dark Age treasure in a Galway bog. A certain amount of charitable time is kept back for emergency situations, both small and large. It is parachuted in times of desperation and has facilitated peace deals, changed battles, and allowed numerous fathers to make it into the delivery room on time. The timesweepers are, by their very nature, tidy and orderly sort of people. They wish that humans would think more about throwing away this valuable commodity, but don't expect it to happen anytime soon. There isn't a moral to this story. It's just that if you are planning on throwing away some of your time, please remember, somebody has to pick it up.